Have you heard of Pearl Davis, the 26-year-old YouTuber, commentator slash woman hater slash pick me of the year? No? You're lucky. But now your luck has ran out because I'm about to tell you about her.
They were expected to be in charge of the household duties and still work a job. They had to.
Oh, come on. What percent of modern women actually cook?
20% of the men, when both parents are working, only 20% actually reported to doing household duties. That's scary when you're both working.
I mean, I'm just saying this shit's automated nowadays. I mean, you have a washing machine, a dishwasher.
Yeah, but so
Sure,
you have
you can
to
say,
put
but
it in
even
the
at that,
air fryer.
but as much as it's automated, men still don't do it.
So if you've not had the opportunity of Pearl and her nonsense to come across your feed, I do envy you because Pearl is kind of dominating the manimist sphere. She's very anti-feminist, she's very anti-woman, and she's a proponent for men's rights. Now, here's the deal. Pearl's overarching opinion is not new. There are quite a few women who reject femininity, reject feminist, reject the whole process of new wave feminism. And you can see that in a multitude of ways. And I'm not going to comment on whether or not I agree or disagree with certain things. I'm going to comment on Pearl's ability to have a platform and say absolutely nothing worth listening to. So even with her having these opinions, being anti-feminist and very pro-man, her argument skills are lackluster.
When I say selfish, I mean like guys that are following their purpose and put themselves first. I feel like this is a tale as old as time. We know women love souls.
That's not true. Let's say you start dating a guy and he's like, listen, I love you and it's great what you're doing out here, Pearly, but I need you to move to Germany because that's where I live and I'm not moving anywhere for your career. Would that be like attractive to you? Like, God, he's so driven
Honestly,
to just not care at all about my life.
I was gonna move to Germany next year anyways for volleyball.
You totally avoiding that question. I
What?
think we know the answer. Okay.
She has been on a few platforms where she's gotten the opportunity to really outline what she believes, why she believes it, blah, blah, blah. And she always resorts to nonchalant, like if she starts to realize that people are not taking her seriously, she's quick to be like, based, or grabs her phone, completely just removes herself from the conversation. And that is primarily because I think deep down inside, Pearl knows that she's full of shit. So let's talk about it. A few things, a few of the opinions that she has that even has the right and the left, like kind of, did I do that right? Right and left for y'all? I don't know. I tried to do it mirror wise. I did ignore that. But I'm going to talk to you about a few opinions that she has that just doesn't make sense. So something you might notice about Pearl, if you know her content, is that almost everything she says puts women in kind of a bad light.
But women by and large are fatter than men. No. Women, and if you go in the US, the woman's always fatter.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Isn't the average weight of a man like 40 pounds over the average weight of a woman?
No, I think the average weight of a woman is more than a guy.
In the US, the average BMI for a man is 26.6 and the average BMI for a woman is 26.5.
Oh, I stand corrected.
No, absolutely bad guy, kind of. But it's also funny because there are some things that she says, like she one of her biggest things is that marriage is between two people, and to better or worse, regardless of the situation, like you made a promise, you better stay with that guy because blah blah blah. She's very conservative in her thought process about marriage, including if a woman gets bigger during pregnancy, which happens, and perhaps the baby weight doesn't come off immediately after, she thinks it's okay for the man to go cheat and that the woman needs to work hard to be beautiful because that's part of the femininity. Like you have to be beautiful. But somebody brought out during I believe it was during her dream little I wouldn't even say it was like a dialogue because it was so one-sided. She would state something and someone would rebuttal immediately, and then she would be like, exception to the rule, rules, exception, blah, blah, blah. She's not a good argue person, commentator. Like, she's definitely not a person who I believe has strong enough faith in what she's saying to really push on it. She's one to continuously say the same thing, but she never develops any new information to present or relevant information. So, backtracking, I'm talking too far into the future. So, during one of her little conferences with Dream and some other folks, she was talking about marriage and how women need to realize that this is a lifetime commitment and you can't just leave your man, blah, 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 blah. And somebody rebutted and said, "Hey, if you're all about the way the sanctity of marriage and how everything should be set up, you're not a virgin. So you shouldn't be able to get married. You shouldn't be able to find yourself someone." And that, you could see it in her face. She was just bamboozled. She's like, "Well, that happened in the past. We can't go back and change it. Like, that's different."
The people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
Doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin, so you wouldn't be able to get married?
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was, but we can't go back. I don't know what you want.
Okay, bish. Okay. Also, during, I believe, the same interview, there was talks about abortions, and with Roe v. Wade being overturned in the past year or so, there's been a lot of conversation around it. But Pearl, when presented with, Dream was explaining that a lot of women, they get abortions, but now that it's not available, it's not safe, blah, blah, blah. And Pearl, out of left field, is just like, in London, they can get an abortion up to 6 weeks, not 6 weeks, 6 months. And everyone's like, "Bitch, we're not talking about London. We're talking about the United States of America," because that's where we're focused in our conversation. You, Pearl, cannot, as American, start to talk shit about other countries when you are not invested in that. So let's bring it back. I say that all to say, let's bring it back to the fact that Pearl is a very bad commentator. But Pearl does have something on her side, and that is being the ultimate pick-me. Pearl speaks so highly about men and how they are mistreated. And there's definitely a double standard in some things, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, into the specifics, but she really sees that in her eyes, men are completely just pushed aside, neglected. They're left for richer men. Women just use them for money, and men can't have standards because that makes them shallow. But they blah blah. She has this very she she's every man's dream, because everything that she says will negatively affect her in the long run, but it will positively affect a man. But the kicker is, I thought that Pearl was perhaps married, had a couple of kids, and was very stable, and like she had information. Pearl is not married. Pearl doesn't have a significant other. And it's so much so that even her sister is like, "Girl, you are single AF." So this begs the question, why is Pearl this adamant? I have two theories. One, Pearl is so desperate to appease some man, a specific man. There is a specific man in her mind that she is trying to appease with this nonsense rhetoric, and that man wouldn't even spit in her direction. So she's going on, she's built this platform, just pearly things about being the ultimate woman, the ultimate pick-me, who rejects everything about other women, and regardless of their situation, she believes they should be able to follow this unnecessarily strict and weird timeline of events, and every man needs to be helped. And she's doing this, in my mind, for one particular man that's never going to give her a time of day. And part of me thinks this is a man who might be in the incel culture, not deep into the incel culture, obviously. I feel like 4chan has just kind of created that space. I don't know. That's a different topic for a different video. But I sincerely believe whoever this man she's trying to attract has these opinions, and that she's just regurgitating them on a larger platform and taking up too much space. And this man, if he's a part of the incel culture, does not even register that Pearl is a woman. So something that Pearl may not understand is that appealing to any group opens yourself up to criticism. But when you're trying to appeal to a majority of a group that has subcultures within it that hate you, and that hate you or either don't even register you as a woman they would pursue, I think it's a bit of a futile effort. If you've not been on the internet for a long time, something that you may not have noticed is that in the incel culture, or any culture where, subculture where there's, oh, well, I'm not getting sex because of XYZ. Regular people, regular women, regular men, including, I guess, the femcel culture, they don't exist to these people. So unfortunately, Pearl is appealing to people who don't even register her as a mate or as a potential mate. Yes, great. You're bringing out all this information, you're talking about it online, but you're never going to be the one they pick. And I don't think she understands that. Or theory 2, Pearl is smart as fuck. So I've noticed recently in social media that people are reckless and they're willing to do anything to make that money or to get a spotlight, even for a fraction of a moment. During COVID, that girl who was licking the toilets, um, literally anything those island twin dudes do, these people are begging for an ounce of fame and some money. And I think Pearl found such a niche area to insert herself into that it makes it almost impossible for people to rebuttal, because she's constantly invited to talk on panels and talk on interviews. I don't know why, because it's not like she's very good at conversing with other people, but she is, because she's spouting something very niche and specific, anti-woman, pro-man rhetoric, to a point where she believes women should be so subservient to men that they cannot make their own decisions. That is a niche that does not have a vocal majority because it's such a dangerous idea. But she does it, and she's reaping the benefits of being almost the sole proprietor of that information. And that means Pearl is the, subject matter expert of this nonsense, and she's making the most money. So I personally don't think either theory will, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because she is spouting stuff that is harmful to other people and to women and to men too, because she's putting a lot of pressure on men, like almost infantile, like making them into babies who are being rejected. So she's not helping either side of the conversation. But if she is in fact this person and she is striving to get this system out and women suck, blah 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 blah, she is going to find that she might hit a point where neither side wants to help her. Women, women X, women whomever, they definitely don't want to support you because you've already told them and the entire world that they're not worth protecting. They're not worth supporting. And men, unfortunately for her, are not going to be as supportive of her as she thinks. Now, of course, right now she has a fantastic platform of men who worship what she says, but I would dare to say that none of them would talk to her if she weren't on this platform, nor would they take her on a date or give her the time of day. But that's a different top for a different day. She might find herself in a situation where no one is willing to defend her because she has created such a rift. You're appealing to people who don't care about you, who just want something to hold and say, see, this is one of the women that gets it. Yeah. But they don't care about you. They care about the message. And I think that's something that she definitely will have to deal with in the future, is knowing that you, Pearl, are the messenger. You are just regurgitating online rhetoric of sad people. But you are not the thing they want at all. And I would even say that if a different person said it, they would have a better chance of appealing to this group in a way that you want, but you are not that person. And I'm not commenting on looks, I'm not commenting on personality and stuff. I'm like, you are just very bad at talking. You are very bad. But theory. I think she also is very good at imitating the way that people talk on the internet. It is very rare that someone has a solid argument on the internet and is able to articulate it, type it out, and put it out there, or even make a video about it, and people take it seriously. So she talks like the people she's trying to represent. Nonsensical, condescending, cutting people off, shouting out based whatever bullshit. She's speaking their language. She's telling their message, but she is not the one they're going to want. And I think that's what's going to bite her in the ass. Now, on the second hand, if she's just super smart, I applaud her for having such an innovative way of making money. But I think the situation, on the other hand, would still be you will hit a point where no one is going to defend you. You are going to lose sponsors. And especially if you come out one day and you're like, hey guys, I'm just the biggest troll in the world. So your credibility would be gone. And even if you had some bigger message to say because of this stunt, no one will take you seriously. And you will still find yourself in both situations where women aren't going to support you or defend you, men are not going to support or defend you. Yeah, you might have a ton of money to an extent because you see like how fucking gas prices now, I don't know. But I feel like that she'll end up in that situation too. So I say this all to say that Pearl has a business strategy that has been played constantly, especially with the amplification of social media. She's making money in a way that I guess other people wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't, especially if it's not something I believe, or even if it's something I believe. I'm not going to go to this extent. Pearl is very interesting. And I don't agree with her at all. At all. She says the most asinine things. But if you really want a case study on talking for, well, I mean, aside from, look at our political sphere, but talking and not saying very much, but getting mad support from a very specific group of people, you need to look at Pearl. She has a YouTube channel. It's called Just Pearly Things. And she doesn't say anything. Like she talks, she's saying words, but it's nothing of substance. And it's amazing because she has received a huge backing from just being substanceless, I guess. It's very strange. But yeah, on TikTok, I keep seeing clips of her in her interviews and she's being torn to shreds. And I'm like, you still get on here and you do this. So you're either the biggest troll or girl, you must be really there. At the end of the day, I just hope that with all the dick that she be riding that she gets off because this is just a lot, girl. This is a lot. And that's it.